What's up? What's up? What's up? Happy Wednesday. Happy Wednesday. Happy Wednesday. I wanted to talk for a quick second about some of the markets really that haven't done well since the pandemic. And the truth is that most of the real estate market exploded during and after COVID, right? We had interest rates that basically went down to zero. I mean, people were getting home loans at, 2.5%, 3% interest. I mean, it was a feeding frenzy in 2020, 2021, 2022. And still, since 20, it's February of 2025. And frankly, even though interest rates are higher, even though there is a lot of inflation, now I guess real estate really isn't affected by inflation in the same way for the owner. Of course, if you're looking to buy, it's horrific because, prices have gone up astronomically. But I guess if you own a bunch of real estate, you care a little less about inflation, mostly because, as inflation gets more and more severe, the value of your real estate goes up. The value of the rents that the tenants pay tend to go up. So, but clearly, inflation is the silent killer. Maybe not so silent these days, but if you're looking to buy a piece of real estate, and you have a high inflationary environment, it's very difficult. But I want to talk for a quick second about some markets that haven't done well since the pandemic. Now, and I'll talk about areas that have done very well. For example, I have another screen right here. I'm going to pull up, let's say, and I talked about this in my class this evening, actually. Let's talk about like downtown Los Angeles. I want to talk about one of my favorite buildings in downtown, which is 900 Olympic. 900 Olympic, of course, is the Ritz-Carlton. It's right across from the crypto arena. There was always this like floor in that building where prices like wouldn't go under $1 million. I mean, it was difficult to find a unit in that building under $1 million. Today, there are 2 units under $1 million, one for $889 and one for $990. If you look at, so there's 2 of the 17 units that are for sale in that building now. 2 of those buildings are under $1 million. Or 2 of those units, I should say, are under $1 million. If we look at the solds, let's see what sold in that building in the last, and I wish I could do a screen share on YouTube. It won't, there's not that function in the system that I have right now on live. But dang, there was one that sold, unit 30C, sold for $862. Crazy. And it took almost a year to do it. So when you look at what's happened to the real estate market since COVID, and why I think that a lot of these urban areas have not really increased to the extent that suburban or even some rural areas. I mean, those rural areas, you might remember this in 2020, 2021, when all the employers were saying, hey, just work from home, just make sure you have an internet connection and you're good, you can work from anywhere. You had people that were like trying to, hey, I'm going to move to, Montana. I was in downtown LA, but I'll just move to Montana, or I'll move to Idaho, and it'll be I can make the same amount of money and live on a ranch in Montana. Those days are a little, I think, over, right? As a lot of the businesses and even the federal government's calling people back to work. But for you as individual agents, if you look at areas that are super hot, it is definitely going to be these more suburban areas. But if you, like the great Wayne Gretzky says, you want to skate to where the puck's going to be. So my thought today really is, yes, a lot of these urban areas like downtown Los Angeles, downtown San Francisco, downtown San Diego, a lot of these areas haven't done very well. The appreciation's not been there. In fact, I would estimate realistically between 2020 and 2025, in the last 5 years, I would say, these downtown areas probably are down 15%, maybe down 20%. So the question, I guess, is why? And this is a multifaceted problem. There's maybe no singular solution to this, but the question is, why have these downtown areas not done as well as, let's say, the suburbs? And I'd love to hear what you think in the chat. Are you noticing this? Is this something that's been on your radar? But why have these urban areas not done so well? Well, I'd say a handful of reasons. First, crime. I don't think that anybody can make the argument that crime is better in these urban areas now than it was before COVID. So you have that. Second thing is, many people still are working from home. So the benefit of, hey, I'm going to buy a place in downtown, I'm going to rent a condo in downtown, or I'm going to buy a condo in downtown, and I'll just walk 3 blocks to work. Those days are kind of gone, right? A lot of people are able to work more remote, or maybe they're only in these downtown areas a couple times a week, and they're not in downtown daily like they were pre-pandemic. The other thing, especially in a lot of these downtown markets, that the homeowners association dues are just outrageous. I mean, you can't find a condo in downtown LA that has HOA dues less than $500 a month. And a lot of these units are $1,000, $1,200, $1,500, $2,500 a month just in the homeowners association dues, which, it's not really easy to write that off. So the point to this simply is if you look at where a lot of these downtown areas are now, the question is, in 10 years or 5 years, do you think these areas are going to come back as a place to work, live, and play? Now, it's hard to imagine that they won't come back, I think. I think there are always going to be people that are between, 20 and 35 that romanticize this notion of, I'm going to live in a high rise, I'm going to have a wonderful view of the world, and I like being in an urban environment. As you mature and you get 40, 45, 50, I think there's fewer and fewer people that want to live that life as they get a little older. But if you talk about real estate investing and you talk about where to put your money, even as a real estate agent or broker or realtor, and where you might put your time, I bet you, I'd have to check this, but I bet you there's a lot of real estate agents that were working these downtown areas from like 2010 to 2020. They got ingrained, picked up some traction, got some business, pandemic hit, and they're not coming back. So I think there probably is an opening for an agent who wants, or agents who want to do well, who want to focus on some of these downtown areas. Now, it's going to be tough in the short term, frankly, because most of these buildings have, 5, 6, 8, 10, 15 active listings, and like 2 have sold in the last 6 months. And you don't make any money just carrying inventory, as as an agent, right? You got to move those units, you got to close escrow, you got to sell. So it's not going to be beneficial to just have listings and carry inventory. But If it's a ignored market and it's a market that you think is going to come back, I would encourage you, hey, is it maybe, I don't know that you want to put 100% of your time into these downtown areas or these areas that have become gentrified, but maybe 10, 15, 20%. Think about it as maybe Bitcoin in 2016. Don't dump all your money into it. Of course, I guess if you were to put all your money into Bitcoin in 2016, you'd be sitting pretty right now. But you get what I'm saying. Maybe don't focus don't put all your eggs in that basket, but maybe consider as you pick a market to be in, these downtown areas, there's a pretty solid chance that because honestly, I remember brokers in 2006, 2005, 2004 that were like, oh, I'm downtown. And a lot of people are like, man, why would you waste your time down there? Boom, 28, 9, 10, 11, particularly 2012 through 2016, a complete renaissance, right? All these really cool restaurants open, the arts district got popping. I mean, it just did really, really well. And the people that got in there early made all the money. And the people that were like late to the party, I mean, they did okay, but certainly not as well as the people that got there very early. So anyway, just not really real estate education related, but just something I was thinking about today as you plan for the rest of your 2025, where if you're licensed already, maybe you are, maybe you aren't, I don't know. But as you think about what you're going to do with your time, what you're going to do with your marketing dollars, what you're going to do with the strategy for the next little bit, no, these downtown areas seem underserved right now. And they were super hot, 10 years ago. SSJ in the chat says, I'm 25. I still wouldn't want to live in a high rise. Yeah, I understand. Well, just out of curiosity, why not? Why does that not appeal to you? Are you scared of heights? Why don't you want to live in a high rise, even in your mid 20s? Opinions of being a commercial agent in SoCal 2025. It's a good idea. Of course. Commercial real estate. Now, speaking of commercial, remember there's 5 pillars of commercial real estate. So it's not just I do commercial. You're probably going to end up picking between retail, office, industrial, land, or multifamily. So you're probably going to pick one of those specialties: retail, office, industrial, multifamily, or like where you sell land to developers. And you're probably going to, if you go work at a commercial company, they're probably going to force you to pick one of those specialties. And based on that specialty, you'll have, and even in that specialty, there's like subspecialties like retail leasing, like tenant rep, or retail net investment sales. So I think it's good. I think especially if you like, kind of a Monday through Friday, 9 to 5 type deal, and you want your weekends and you want your nights, commercial's a good way to go. I'm more of an out of the way person. I like downtown traffic. No, I hear you. Downtown traffic definitely sucks, but that's the cool thing about living downtown. You don't have to have a car. You just walk everywhere. What is your best advice? Aunt Law says, I'm just curious, how close are the mock exams from the crash course to the actual state test? If you're using our mock exams, we don't ever debrief students on the test. That's not legal, but our questions are similar in tone and structure to the real estate test. So I would do all the questions in the training mode twice, and then make sure you're scoring a 90 or better on the mock exam. You should be good to go for the state exam. If you do those 2 things, you'll be good to go. Make sure you're consistently scoring a 90 or better on the mock exam, and make sure you do all the questions in the training mode twice. HA says, what's the best advice for someone trying to become a real estate agent? My advice would be just go for it. I mean, just go for it. I should say be careful though, because I know that's so cliche. Oh, just go for it. You'll be fine. But I would caution you to know that it will take some time before you get your first transaction. It's just the way. It's the way of our industry. Even if you had a license today and you got a client today, it would still probably be 2 to 3 months before you close escrow and got paid. So just be realistic about how long it's going to take you to actually get started. I hate that word realistic, right? Because it's very limiting, but you do have to have some element of realism. You have to understand that, it will take time. It's not going to happen overnight, but there aren't too many people that have been doing real estate for more than 5 or 6 years that aren't doing like pretty well. So you just want to make sure that you stay focused and try to, if you're going to do real estate, I would try to get your first deal in the first 90 days. Like no matter what, your first 90 days in the business, I would say you have to put a deal in escrow in your first 90 days. Now, I know a lot of people that didn't do a deal for a year, and they're great agents now. They just had a really rough start, but it's a little demoralizing, right? I mean, if you work your butt off, you shave, shower, put a suit on and go to work, every day for 3 months or 4 months, you don't make any money. It's kind of like, especially if you have a spouse or a partner at home, man, it's hard to look them in the eye and say, hey, I've been working my butt off for 3 months and I haven't closed anything. Eventually, unless you have a really supportive partner, they might start to tell you stuff like, oh, why don't you go get a real job? Or, hey, you've been trying long enough. It's been 3 months, and you start doubting yourself. So you definitely just want to make sure that everyone around you, and even in your own mind, which is more important than anything else, just give yourself a year. It's going to take time. It's just the way it is, and just be gentle. Be gentle on yourself. How valuable would you say mentorship programs are to new agents? Very valuable. You want to be careful, though, not to pay for ridiculously high coaching, because especially in 2025, there's a lot of you guys even watching this live right now. I run a real estate school. We sell real estate courses, but I know that a lot of you guys didn't actually pay for my courses. You went on my YouTube channel, watched freaking 20 hours of me spewing real estate for free. And it's just the way of the world, right? There's a lot of free resources out there, which is great. But just be careful paying a bunch of money for some mentorship that may or may not actually translate to a return on your investment. So just bear that in mind. Would you recommend working for a big brokerage firm like Coldwell Banker or Compass? Yeah, I mean, there's a balance, because really small boutique companies, what's cool about those companies is that you'll be on a small team of like less than 10 or 15 people. You'll feel like a little family. You'll feel like home away from home, which is good. They just may not have the resources of a Compass or a Coldwell Banker or Sotheby's or something like that. The negative to working at a lot of these big companies is that it does kind of feel like you're, swimming in the ocean. There's, especially like you look at a company like Keller Williams, a lot of Keller Williams offices have 200, 300, 400 agents that work there. It's really easy as a rookie real estate agent to feel like you're lost in the ocean at a lot of these firms. So just, interview at a couple different companies. If you want some recommendations, depending on where you live, you could send me a note or send me a message. And I'm happy to maybe set up some interviews or at least do some soft intros for you. But yeah, I mean, and I should say one other thing. If you're going to do well, you're probably going to do well wherever you are. So like, there are real estate agents that work at really good companies that don't make any money. And then there are really good real estate agents that work at, well, maybe I'm saying that backwards. I guess what I'm saying is that if you're a hustler and you're willing to put in the work and make the calls and knock on the doors and just grind it out, you're probably going to do well regardless of what company you go work for, just because you have heart and grit and you're never going to give up and you're never going to, you're just not going to let go until you get it. If you're a little lazy, and I don't know you, right, obviously, but if you're a little lazy, you could be on the best real estate team, and then, you could get a lazy person who will find a way to muck it up. So I would recommend interviewing with at least 2 or 3 different companies before you decide. But just realize that ultimately comes down to you and what you're willing to do and how hard you're willing to work. And if you're willing to work hard and you're just not going to let go until you get it, you'll do really well wherever you end up. Now, a good company and a good team will help that, right? It'll foster the innate talent that you have and the drive that you have. And if you're on a crappy team or a crappy company, it'll beat it out of you. So the environment matters for sure, but I think the environment is less relevant than the heart and grit of the individual. I think that's what really is the differentiator. What's the process once you finish the 3 courses and are ready to contact the DRE? I'm in LA. So you're going to want to go to dre.ca.gov after you get the 3 certificates. And on the right, you'll see a yellow, so it's dre.ca.gov. On the right, you'll see a yellow rectangle that says e-licensing. check e-licensing, and you can create an account, enter your social and date of birth, and you can just apply for the exam online. So um, just go to dre.ca.gov, set up an e-licensing account, and follow the prompts. What sucks is that the state just raised the prices on everything. At least California did. The state exam was like $60, I think, and now it's 100. The license was 350. I think it's now, no, sorry, the license was 245. It's now 350. So everything's gone up like 30%. So do it quick. And the state's taking like 6 weeks to process exam applications. So even if you applied for the exam today, February 12th, you probably wouldn't be taking the test till early April. So it's going to take, it'll take time. You have up to 2 years to do it, but it'll take 6 weeks at fastest. My email address is karthik@audieschools.com. So my first name is Karthik, Kartik, at adhischools.com. So again, my name is Karthik, Kartik, at adhischools with an s.com. And send me a note. I'd love to connect with you and find out what you guys are up to and why real estate, and what about our industry is exciting to you. That's always an interesting thing. I always like talking to new agents because they haven't had the crap beat out of them like a lot of people that are veterans. They just get a couple bad deals, you get a couple bad beats, and then the life gets sucked out of them, and that's sad because but that's what comes down to heart and grit. Like how hard are you willing to grind for the thing that you think is correct? And it's also a balance, I think, between personal ambition, and I guess this is true for all entrepreneurs, but there's a balance between personal ambition and wanting to do well and get rich and make money and all those things that I guess are important, right? Because we want to maximize our own potential. And the fact that you always have to put the client first and make sure that you're not putting your own personal ambition in front of the client. And I can't tell you how many people take my real estate class and I ask them, why are you doing this? And pretty regularly, I'll hear people say, I'm doing this because, my dad got screwed over by a real estate person, or my mom got taken advantage of, or I don't want to get hustled when I buy or sell my own house. I want to have some level of knowledge and skill. And I understand that, because there's a lot of people that get attracted to our industry strictly for personal gain. And that's, that can be a very dangerous and slippery slope to go down. So HA says, my father has 30 years plus as a realtor. I'm very much thinking of getting my real estate license to work alongside him. I'm not sure if part-time is worth it. Well, you should be very thankful that your father is still here, that you even have the chance to possibly work with him. That's, you're very lucky in that regard. I would just get the license. The license isn't expensive. I mean, the classes are a few $100s. The exam's a few $100. I mean, I would get the license just to have it, and then, work with him and just see how it goes. I would say do it part-time. Hell, even if you closed one deal ever, it would pay for itself like 20 times over. Just get your license. We'd love to help you with that, obviously, but just get your license. The ROI is pretty high, even if you just did one transaction. Is there any chance you can share what your first couple of months were like and the mindset you had when you started? And what's your email address? Yeah, Karthik, again, Kartik at audieschools.com. My first couple of months in our business were, they were okay. I never really had a real job, and because of that, I don't think I ever wanted to like work for anyone else. So real estate was like the easiest thing that I could do at 20 years old, or 21, or however old I was at the time. I'm 28 now. I'm kidding, joking, but that was like easy, to get into, and you could be self-employed. So I also thought, I think I probably was a lot more, I felt a lot more invincible at 20. I guess that's how you feel, right? And at 20 years old, I felt like I could do it. And I think that that's important. Having like self-belief is important. And that's why I think starting this early is helpful, because it's a lot easier to believe in yourself, I think, if you haven't had a bunch of bad beats. So yeah, the mindset was just I just didn't want to ever have a job. I didn't want to have to punch a clock. I didn't want to have a boss. I just never wanted to work for anybody else. And I don't know where that came from. I mean, I just knew I didn't want to do something that I didn't feel in control of. Like, the interesting thing about real estate, and maybe this is true from a lot of entrepreneurship, but like outside of a major calamity, like obviously if your business got destroyed in the Palisades fire or in the Eaton fire, that is an act of God. That is not something that maybe you could have controlled. But I always want to feel like I want to live and die on my own sword, right? Like if I make it, it's because of my own effort. And if I don't make it, it's because of my lack of effort. And it's not because my boss didn't like me. It's not because, I don't want to work late. It was my destiny. I felt like my destiny was in my own hands. So I think that was my mindset when I first started. And I suspect that's the mindset of a lot of you guys that are in real estate or thinking about getting into real estate. Maybe you are over your boss, you're over your job, you're over your career. You just want to do something where you feel like you have some element of control. And you can't see it from here, but I still have my first, it's on the other side of, I'm in my office right now at home, but on the other side of that wall is my first commission check ever from like 25 years ago. I think it was, I can't really see it. I think it's like $1,561 for a little $90,000 condo. I mean, this is what condos went for at the time. But I was like 20 when I got my license. I was 20 years old. Maybe barely 21, maybe 21, probably 20 though, I think. Yeah, so a long time ago for sure. But anyway, any other questions or thoughts about anything real estate related? Would love to answer any questions you might have. But it is a very good industry, as you know. As it can be very good, it can be very lucrative, and you do get what you put into it. I guess that's like most things in life. Somebody asked, do I recommend another school or mine? I recommend my school. Right? I recommend Audi schools. Yes, 100%. I recommend Audi schools. I teach a class every night still, Monday through Thursday, 6:30 to 7:45. It's 8:50. I did a class an hour and a half ago. So yeah, I'm still teaching live regularly on Zoom. If you go to adhischools.com, you can sign up on the website, and I will be with you every night for for a good 8 weeks, and I'll get you through it. And yeah, would love to have you guys. So anyway, we'll see you guys another time. Hopefully we'll catch you real soon. See ya. Have a good night.